So if you were to say that my superpower is being able to jump fearlessly into any and all new creative projects, it would be fair to say that focus and organization are my kryptonite. As productive and prolific as I tend to be as a creator, staying on task for more than a couple of days is unfamiliar to me as my absentee father. Wait, what? Hi, I'm Dave, and I make things. And maybe you can relate to this, but I have tried so many different ways to stay productive, to stay organized, to keep myself on task. I've tried daily calendars and bullet journals and productivity apps like Trello and Notion and ClickUp. And each time, no matter what the productivity program is, within about a week or two, I lose interest. Or more accurately, I lose focus. So you get into these programs, and then all of a sudden these apps start to send you all these different notifications like, hey, you forgot this one that you missed today, or the one that you didn't do last time, and now you're overdue. And I get those notifications, and it just fills me with dread and makes me want to participate in them even less. Please tell me I'm not alone in this, because if you have a similar story, please do me a favor and push aside all shame for a moment and drop a thought into the comments about how this is relatable to you. While you're down there, hit that like button, because we want this video to get out to as many people as possible, the ones that are dealing with the same situation with productivity and focus. Hey, squirrel! Oh, they look hungry. Let me go get them some nuts. What were we talking about again? The way I look at it, I've made a habit of figuring out how to go into scary projects and to jump in headfirst without any fear or trepidation. And when I find something that I really enjoy, even if I don't really have the skill level to pursue that thing, I still kind of push forward because I'm really eager to get to that end result. This thing back here is a perfect example of that. I am struggling with this thing. It's still not ready. I did something wrong. And that's okay, I'm just waiting it out and I'll get to it eventually. I've got to get this thing finished no matter how difficult or troubling this thing is for me. And if I'm willing to do that for the work itself, then why can't I take that same amount of focus and energy to maintaining the productivity so that I can do more of these projects? The answer is simple. I can do these things. Any of us can do these things. But we have to endure the pain that comes with doing these things that are uncomfortable and new, and the things that we keep telling ourselves that, oh, we're no good at those things. Well, the only way to get good at them is to do them and focus on them and force ourselves into making it work, because it's important for our progress. If we don't focus our energy towards this focusing. Can you focus on focusing? I don't know. But if we don't do that, then we're never going to get to the end result that we're looking for. I'm looking to make a paradigm shift within myself. And there's 4 different ways that I am making this shift, both physically and also technologically, so that I can get myself unstuck from this behavior. And the very first thing that I'm doing is I gotta ask myself a very specific question. This is the simplest way for any of us to keep ourselves in check, but we have to be vigilant about how we practice this. If I ever find myself being distracted by something or caught up in something that maybe I shouldn't be doing, I take a moment and I pause and I ask myself this question: is this helping me get work done? Or if you're looking for a more enterprising answer, then the question is this helping me make money? And if the answer is no, I pull myself away, I pivot, and then I focus on something that actually does those things. Number 2 is a good way to help me with that, and that's removing any distractions. I made a decision this year to remove any apps from my phone that don't help me do these things. Like if it doesn't help me focus on my work or help me focus on my business, or at least keep my personal life in check, then it gets deleted. There are some that I use that are work related that I could get caught up in as pretending that I'm working. For instance, I make YouTube videos, obviously, and I get caught up in watching other people's YouTube videos, sometimes a little too much. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. Same goes for Substack. I like to write things on Substack, but I also like to read things on Substack, and sometimes I get a little bit too deep in the weeds with the reading there, and sometimes I gotta pull myself away. Nothing wrong with reading good information, but, is it really helping me get my job done? Number 3 is implementing more of a productivity system in a way that's going to be beneficial. I've tried to use apps in the past, like Notion, like ClickUp, and others. I get super eager and I jump in head first, and I find myself getting deep in the weeds way too early, and then that's when I start things just it's too much. Decided I needed to be a little bit more educated on how to be productive. Like what are some of the actual mindset or practices that I can implement in my life that will make these apps work better for me. Maybe you are familiar with Ali Abdaal. He is a self-improvement and productivity person here on YouTube, and he recommended a book by a guy by the name of Tiago Forte. It's this book right here, Building a Second Brain. Essentially what Tiago Forte talks about in this book is kind of building methods and structure and doing things that help you collect all the information that you have going through your head. If you're anything like me, then you have constant ideas coming at you, just like hitting you in the face all the time. New idea, 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 new idea. And the problem is we just have no way to capture all that information and like actually activate it in our brains. Say, oh yes, I gotta remember that one. Oh, and I gotta remember that one. Oh, I gotta remember that one. We don't have the capacity as human beings to do that. But in this book, he talks about a method that helps us do those things. And it's as simple as like anytime we get one of these ideas, we just write it down. And then we take that information and then we put it into some place in an organized way so that we can activate on those things and we put priorities on them. I'm a little less than halfway through this book right now, but what I'm starting to realize already is that I'm looking at productivity and project management all wrong. And I really hate that phrase, especially for creative people. Project management sounds so corporate, but sometimes we kind of have to think like that in order to get stuff done. As a self-employed artist and designer, somebody who has shunned the corporate world, I still recognize that some of the things that I learned when I worked in the corporate world help me do what I do. There's something to be said about project management, learning how to be better at it, that it's going to help me make all the things that I want to make, share all the things that I want to share. Needless to say, I jumped back into ClickUp, and I enjoy ClickUp more than some of the other apps. It's just the way I work and the way I feel like that app works for me. The thing that I did differently this time that had changed from all the other times that I've tried these apps is I didn't schedule every last thing. I thought in the past that what was important was that if I was going to do something, like say if I needed to film the video, I would have my schedule so it was like film on this day, edit on this day, promote on this day, publish on this day, do all these things. And then I had that for every single project that I was working on. Do the art on this day, do the writing on this day, make sure you post on this day, make sure you do that on this day. And the schedule block on my calendar looked like a colorful mess. It was anxiety inducing, to say the least. Now, there are some things that definitely need to stick to a schedule. Like I definitely want to make sure that, I know that this video is going to go out on a particular day. But there are other projects that don't need to be scheduled so tightly. They're more like an in-progress situation, and as long as that progress is moving forward and it's not impeding with any of the things that definitely need to go out on certain timelines, then it's okay. It relieves the pressure of me feeling like, oh, I got to get everything out at a certain time, and if I don't do it on this particular day, then I'm going to be a failure, and I'm going to quit, and I'm going to bail on it, and I'm going to go back to my more unproductive process. For instance, when I wrote this script for this video, I also wrote the script for the video that you saw last week, and I wrote the script for the video that you're going to see next week. I also filmed all of them the exact same time, but if it looks like they were filmed on different days, that's only because of strategic costume and lighting changes. The other thing that's important about the productivity apps is I can keep them on any device that I have available to me, and I like to keep my ClickUp app right next to my Instagram so that I can remind myself of what's more important. Now, I'm way too early into this to say that I know anything about what I'm doing, but I will report back later to let you know how it's going. And if things go well, then I will go deeper into this topic so that maybe I can, share some wisdom with you on the topic. The fourth thing that I'm doing is habit tracking. It may not seem that interesting for me to talk about like how much water I'm drinking or how many days I went to the gym, but those simple things are helping me keep on task with all the other things that I'm doing. The first way that works is because I track all of these things within ClickUp. And so if I'm already in ClickUp tracking these things, then I kind of maintain my focus on what it is that I need to get done for the day because I'm there in the app. And the second thing is that there's something very satisfying about clicking off on these daily habits that makes me feel like if I can get that done, then I can do all these other things. And I want to click off on those things. I want to check off the check boxes as much as I possibly can. Yeah, Instagram's cool, but there's no better dopamine hit than crossing things off of your checklist. And you know what I mean? There is a catch here because, like I said earlier, it's just as easy to get distracted by pseudo work, things that we do as busy work that feel like we're being productive, but don't really move the needle on our projects. Once I started to feel good about working within ClickUp, I felt like I needed to really go, hey, there's all these other things that I could track. I could put all of my other little tiny projects in here and I could focus on those projects and say like, oh, I could do all these detailed things within those projects to make myself feel like I've got all this stuff that I can check off and write in and track and cross-reference. And I need to do just enough to help me push forward, to help me make money, to help me share with you guys. Anything else is just extraneous. Unless I get to a point where it's like, okay, now I feel really good, I feel really fluid, everything's feeling great, I can add some aspects as needed instead of trying to do everything all at once or just focusing on that and not focusing on the project. So that's the plan, and if everything goes as planned, then 2023 is going to be the most productive year of my life. Now, of course, nothing ever goes exactly to plan, but I still feel like if I implement as much as I possibly can of what I've learned so far from Tiago, I definitely recommend this book. I'll put a link in the description for it. If I implement all of that stuff, and at least I get, let's say 80% of what I want to do, if I get all that done, then I'm gonna feel really good. And it's just gonna reinforce the idea that this works and I can do more, and the next year is gonna be even more productive. Now that I've shared, my thoughts on this with you, I feel a certain level of accountability to make this happen, because I don't wanna continue going down this hole of like saying I'm gonna do something and then getting tired of doing that thing because I got focused on a different project instead. Wish me luck. Not that I need it, because I have ClickUp. Not to distract you from your own productivity, but YouTube thinks you're going to want to watch that video next. If you want to see me talk about this more in the future, how it's going, and what I feel or what I find to be working, then go down below to the comments and tell me what you thought. Okay, while you're down there, hit the like button, because you're a brilliant person who knows how much that means to me. Thank you very much. I've been Dave. You've been awesome. I'll see you next time.